and welcome back to this week's edition of the Two Coaches, One Grid podcast. 2 weeks in a row, gentlemen, building a little momentum here. All right, glad to be back once again, and we're going to talk about some NBA playoffs, right? Some NFL news, right? We got a full slate today, gentlemen. How we doing, Coach?
Phenomenal. Glad to be here. We have a really good show with a lot of different subjects and nice things to be able to go over and talk about. I'm really excited.
Grizz?
I'm happy to be here as always. Start of May. This is the heart of the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. Next week we got some football scheduling coming out. Very excited about that. And overall, as you said, 2 weeks in a row, I appreciate that we're going to keep this momentum up for a long time.
That's
the way to go.
Gentlemen, let's jump right into it, right? Grizz, as you said, okay, the kind of nexus of sports for the next few weeks is the NBA playoffs, right? And there's some exciting things happening. There's been some shockers. And I think overall, we're starting to watch and see the emergence of the next generation of superstars in the NBA. So, again, like some surprising stuff has happened as well. And again, let's go jump right into it, Coach.
Surprising for some, however, not surprising to the Grizz. Because the Grizz called out the Minnesota Timberwolves, were riding it all the way to the championship. And they are up 2-0 on the defending Denver Nuggets champions.
I do appreciate the kind words from our fellow deep dive master. But as I've learned from him, we don't count our eggs before they hatch, right? We make sure we finish the job. Right now, as we speak, 2-0, both games in Denver they won. Game 2 was a laugher. And they haven't lost a game yet in the playoffs. And I just believe Anthony Edwards is the real deal. He mentioned, I don't know if I said it last game, he mentioned he's looking to kill everybody. I like that. That's what I need. And we need that. We haven't had that kind of mantra since a Kobe Bryant, a Michael Jordan. We need that kind of mindset. He doesn't believe the job's done. So I think they're gonna win this in 4 games. I think they're gonna sweep the champs.
I mean, they're in serious danger of being swept.
If they don't, obviously, I think they win 1 out of the 2 for sure. Maybe Denver. If Denver wins 1 of these games, I think it'll go to 6. But I'm not going to be shocked. I am absolutely not going to be shocked. I think we're actually seeing live right now the movement, the torch being passed. We'll talk about OKC in a second too. But I mean, this team is serious. Minnesota is fun, young, and ready to go.
So I agree with everything you said. I do have one correction, right, in terms of perspective. The torch was already passed when he put the smackdown on the Suns and to Durant's face. Like, hey, I love you. You're my idol.
Correct.
But I'm here. You're mine. I own you.
I'm saying we're seeing it live with the torch being passed with that. It just happened.
Yeah.
A week ago.
And, so it's interesting on staying on Ant-Man, because he's getting all of this publicity now and we're seeing his emergence, right? It was something that was posted on social media that I saw a couple days ago where he's on a podcast actually talking about his encounter with Steve Kerr during the draft process, right? So they brought him out to Golden State, they worked him out, and they're like, yeah, you're not working hard enough. Yeah, you're not and Steve Kerr just kept telling him, you're not working hard enough. If we had the first pick, we wouldn't be picking you. And in his head, he's like, what am I possibly doing wrong? Like, I'm gassed right now. I don't have anything else to give. And Steve Kerr said, well, if you were to look at how our stars practice and work out and play, right? Talking about, at that time, Tristan Thompson, right? Steph Curry, you would understand. And he went to a workout, and that's himself saying that that's what changed his perspective on his work ethic and what he needed to do to be successful. So it was pretty interesting. Dude that had, a team and organization that had no chance of drafting him. Pretty much, Steve Kerr giving him that inspiration and letting him know, like, this is what you got to be. And the dude's got the mindset, man. Like he is the real deal.
Oh, yeah. And he's 22.
22.
Sick.
So potentially the next 18 to 20 years.
And he plays both ends of the court.
Of course.
He's not just an offensive juggernaut. He also plays good D on the other side, and they're showing it. They're
And what
doing a
did
great
those
job
two
against
greats that I
Denver.
just talked about? They were also very well known for all-team defense.
Yeah, first-team defense.
First-team defense. I mean, just that's what you got to be. You got to be an all-around. As they say, you got to play 1 through 5. You got to be that 5-tool player in baseball, right? You got to be that kind of guy.
Your presence needs to be felt in all phases of the game, and that's what he's doing right now. And not just against any scrub team.
Right.
Durant, 2-time champion, 2-time NBA, champion MVP, right? And then the reigning defending champions as well.
The beauty is the Kevin Durant thing. We're already seeing, like you said, torch being passed because like I said, the guys you can see Durant's on his last legs, still great, but still that he's.
They're talking about him coming to Miami now. Supposedly that's the next quick fix.
We're the new vacation destination for the old guys.
You guys want that bipolar, persona here?
Hey,
I'm
at
not
the end of
saying
the day,
I'm just throwing that out there.
Because we're gonna have a chat about that too later. But I never say no to talent and Kevin Durant's talent. But once again, I wanted to move on real quick to the OKC team. This guy, Shea,
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander?
I can never say his name correctly. But that guy is amazing.
SGA.
SGA is amazing. Came in second to the Joker in the MVP. And that himself, I think, is the same. You got that same look as Ant-Man.
Yeah,
Same kind of makeup.
And it's interesting, right? Because with OKC, right, they're definitely in a smaller market, haven't gotten the publicity that they deserved this season, especially SGA. If SGA is in a bigger market, he might be the MVP, right? Because he would have gotten that much more coverage. But because you're in no man's land, right, that definitely affected his
he got
votes.
second though.
But what I'm saying is
for what he's done, and he should have won it in my opinion because their team was the number 1 overall team in the West.
Understood.
Basically, that's right there. We're already saying besides Boston, the winner should be the Western team.
And what I'm saying is that him not winning it, right? The direct factor of it being Oklahoma City and not Miami, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago.
Right. So in other words,
directly
he didn't win it. In your opinion, he didn't win it because he's in a small market.
Correct. Yeah.
I could agree with you, but Kevin Durant himself won in that small market. So I don't think it's the market. I think it's more he went against a guy that has already won 2 MVPs a couple years ago and deservedly needed. The 3 MVP, yeah, he should win it every year the way he plays. He's a young kid that he's not as well known yet as a Kevin Durant in that small market. And like I said, getting second, I think is still just as big as an accomplishment as if he would have won it because of who he was going against. And remember, Embiid probably would have won it had he made the limit of the 65 games, but he gets hurt too much. But I mean, Ant-Man could be. You could say Ant-Man deserves it. I mean, the guy's averaged 30 points for the season. I mean, just
no. I mean,
percentage shooting,
an animal.
53 points for percentage for a guard. No other guard, I think, in his position shot that percentage and even averaged 20.
And if I'm not mistaken, they're the second youngest team in the NBA.
Yeah.
So
this is Minnesota and OKC potentially for years to come,
right.
if handled correctly with the salaries.
Right.
But
yeah, I don't think the salaries are an issue as much with the new revenue sharing situation that they have. Before with OKC, yes, that was an issue with Durant and Harden and Westbrook because there was
you still have a cap. You still have again, many of the teams do pay the luxury tax, and it's a situation where here we go.
But this is where the small market comes into effect that you're talking about. Can they pay this type of money?
Can they sustain that?
Can they sustain it? Will these players want to stick around? You know what I'm saying? Are we going to have the lifers and they're going to stick around, or do they want to go to the big markets?
Yeah, do they want they want the lifestyle?
I believe we're in that world where the big markets are starting to you don't need to be attractive because you get seen everywhere. We're a global entity.
Yeah,
it's not the same. It's still attractive to go play in a big city. Now with the Knicks playing the way they're playing, which is good for the NBA, that market shines again. So yes, the big markets still have an edge, but man, You want to win titles for years to come. You got to stick with your nucleus. That's the way to go.
Yeah, you have to develop from
we'll
within.
see. We'll see if they adopt the motto of our boy with the Bucks. If they stay there,
Like Giannis.
and they don't want to go anywhere. That's the whole crux.
And the
of
thing
it.
is that even though it looks like he made the decision to stay, he's probably going to get out of there too in a few
That's
years.
that's what they're saying now.
You know, as much as he just won a championship a couple years ago, now it's all sour.
Things are getting sour.
Everything is, what have you done for me lately? Well, that's our lives.
It's all about the coach. It's so many different.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous situation to me. Like they had they were one of the first or second best record in the NBA when they fired their coach, and just a straight up flame out in the playoffs.
You got to go with the famous Doc River name, which I don't understand why you did that. I mean, it's one thing for a player, but to do it for a coach,
there was some reports that it was like a Giannis call because he didn't like the coach or something like that.
So now he's become a prima donna. And
but here's my thing:
is getting rid of coaches that.
Isn't that the main reason why you have a general manager?
Yeah.
Like that's not the coach.
No.
That's not the player's call. I mean, I know the NBA it's ran by the players. I get it.
Your general manager is your star player. That's unfortunately what this is now.
Right.
So
that's what it's come down to.
Yeah, you're gonna have to live with that, unfortunately, because if that's the case, that this guy, I don't like him. After like 20 games, what are you gonna do? Remember, they tried to do the lightning in a bottle thing with Pat Riley when he came in. That they fired Stan 20 games into the season, and like, all right, we got to do a remix here. Bring back Pat. That works.
They lost in the Eastern
But not
Conference
everybody's
Finals
Pat.
that year.
No, we won that year.
No, they won that year.
Yeah.
The
year
they won
before
the
they lost
championship.
with Stan Van Gundy.
Oh,
They won
okay.
the
That's why he got fired.
But not
Because he
everybody-
started slow the next year.
But not everybody's Pat Riley. I mean,
Correct.
That's
But everybody thinks Doc Rivers, because he won one, was Pat Riley. When Doc Rivers is more the guy that blows the most 3-1 leads in playoffs. He's done it like 6 times or something, 5 times.
Yeah, he's had like
an
the
insane
most
amount of
flameouts.
choking. He's not. I mean, he's a good coach. It's fine. I like him on ABC when he's calling games. But I'm sorry, he won one with the big 3 eventually with the Boston. Fantastic. But you're not. I'm sorry, you're not a legendary coach in my opinion. You're just a valuable name that people know. Well, that's it.
I mean,
You ain't no Phil Jackson.
that one championship does give him cover for what the critiques have been for him, right?
it gives them credibility.
Right, gives him some credibility. But like, I remember, like, it was a big conversation, right? A talking point of the fact that like he really doesn't run a structured like offense or defense. No. He like allows his players to wing it, and like, okay, that's cool.
Most
during the regular
of the other
season.
coaches that have won lately are multiple champions.
Right.
I mean, multiple champions. And once, like a Rick Carlisle's only won one. Who's the guy that's with Nurse?
Nick Nurse.
He won obviously with the Raptors. But usually it's been a Phil Jackson, a multiple winner like
Steve Kerr,
Eric Spoelstra. Like, you should have been winning more.
And again, the players have a lot to do with it.
But he had the Clippers for all those years that should have won. They underachieved. And like I said, I don't even know why we switched something, because I don't even want to waste my time anymore on these Milwaukee. Because I got to speak about your Knicks now. You know what I'm saying? But I'll just say this. I'm not sold on Doc Rivers being the coach. Get rid of that guy. I don't care. I'm actually going to give you props now for your Knicks, the Butcher, and the crew.
I'll tell
2-0.
I'll tell you this.
Beating the Pacers. Can't believe this.
I'll tell you, like, when my concern was and always been, like, with their head coach, right? Like, he's famous for grinding down his players, running a small bench throughout the season, and by the time they get to this point, they're running out of gas.
Right, which they're running out of players now.
But again, because
he's a good coach.
Great coach.
Like, he is a
I don't think this time has been because of him grinding them out. It's just you've had bad luck on some of these injuries.
They play tough defense.
I think the kind of guys, the Nova Knicks that are playing, actually work perfectly with him because they're grinders themselves. The ultimate grinder. Jalen Brunson's turned into a superstar.
And that is a phenomenal point to expand on. Like, and I don't think that, that gets enough coverage and credit. The fact that 3 of their 5 starters played for Villanova on the national championship team. Like, those guys have natural, chemistry from when they were college players.
But again, and that's one of the things about the college game, and that to me transcends into the NBA. When you get guys that play 4 years at a college and they get to the NBA, they're much much better players, not athletes, but players. They've been through the grind, especially if they've been in national championship runs. They have the whole mentality of being mature, of understanding their situation. When you get the one and dones, and we've seen it over the last 5 or 6 one and done guys, don't really play to their potential. It takes them years in the NBA to get to where we think they're supposed to be. Yeah. But the guys that play the 4 year at good, again, I'm not talking about
regardless
Toledo. I'm talking about
you're absolutely right, because the cohesiveness of these teams, got chemistry.
They know their
I don't
role.
understand why this doesn't get looked at more often. Why pro teams don't look at, let's see if we can match up some teammates from college, maybe that have played well together. Obviously, not have to be your superstars, but you got a superstar. Hey, he played good with this couple guys. Get him on your team. I believe the cohesiveness, what you're talking about, the 3 years, obviously, one and done, you're not going to get that kind of cohesiveness.
Oh, yeah, and you don't get mental maturity. You don't have maturity. There's a lot of things that go on with it.
You can mix it, obviously. You get the talent and you get the maturity. I get it.
There's one thing, like, again, I'm not a natural basketball guy. I'm obviously more of a casual fan, but there's one thing that I learned from being around basketball coaches, and you hear it all the time. You go to college to learn defense, right? And these guys play amazing defense. Especially like OG Anunoby, that he's clamped down. Yeah. Like he is their weapon X. Like he allows them to be, as versatile as they are right now. Because they run a small lineup. That's a small lineup.
Oh, but again, Thibodeau has always been known for tough defense. His teams have always been low scoring, grinding.
You've been a coach for 30 plus years, and as well as I do, is you can coach your ass off. Defense and technique and concepts. But if 80% of the battle is the effort,
there has to be a buy-in. There has to be a buy-in.
I mean, offense is you grew up, you get a ball, you shoot outside, you learn that on your own. Defense, you need to be coached. I think. Right. Yeah, you could shadow box against like the wall or something, but you need to be coached. The effort, you have to have it in you. Right. If you get, like you said, great coaching in college, you get that years of, you're going to come so much better into the pro game.
Correct.
So,
Right. Also in the NBA and in basketball in general, the rotation on defense is the key. Is how, and that chemistry of the team playing together, that's what brings that together. Because they know when one guy's going to double and then the other guy's going to come out and go ahead and take over for that person doubling. Mm. So again, that cohesiveness there on defense is super important.
So, like to wrap up the thought here with the Knicks, you think they're going to be able to grind it out here, especially with a short bench now that their dudes are going down?
I mean, obviously, I'm not. I picked the Pacers to finish the series in 6. I think they still can finish the series in 6. I think the Pacers can win the next 4 games because the bodies are being lost. Brunson, I don't care if he came back. They shot him up with something. But he's got to wait a couple days to play again. That foot now might not be perfect. Your boy OG's out. I mean, if you lose both games in the Indiana,
it's a series.
Obviously it's a series, even though it's not really a series until the road team wins, they say. But all I know is booty holes are tighter at 2-2.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? If it's 3-1, you sneak and get one. Obviously, I think you guys should win it. But let me tell you, man, you let those 2 games go in Indiana, healthy or not, tightness comes into play. And the beauty is that this is the best New York Knicks team you've had
25 years
since the Ewing game, the teams. This is the best player you've had since Ewing.
The most economical contract for a superstar.
Incredible steal from the Mavericks. You got it from a guy that apparently does deals for a living on Shark Tank, and he gave you a gift because they didn't want to. Imagine Brunson on that team. Huh?
Since you mentioned the Knicks and you mentioned 25 years ago, let's go ahead and segue right into Pat Riley and his comments.
The dude that left the Knicks high and dry for New York.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For Miami.
For Miami, coming to Miami. Let's go over those comments he made this week on our superstar Jimmy Butler, on Tyler Hero, on the essence of our basketball team going forward.
I couldn't agree any more with our Godfather, Mr. Pat Riley. Pat Riley was 100% right to call out Jimmy Butler, 100% right to call out Tyler Hero. In fact, if you don't win in the postseason with the Heat, this is the best thing to look forward to. Pat Riley's end of the year conference. You're 100% spot on, Gil. Continue.
Again, if you're not in the playoffs, you have no business talking about it. If you're not playing and the team that beat you is playing, you need to shut up and just watch and move on.
Exactly.
And again, he hit everything on the. I mean, Jimmy wants more money. He needs to play more games.
Of course.
He's got to play more games. And to get his, like we talked about last week, to get his body in shape to play those grinding minutes, to get himself ready to step up to that challenge.
I personally think he felt himself a little bit this offseason after the incredible run to the finals. And then, unfortunately, he disappeared. He disappeared in the finals. He didn't finish the job. What did I just say about why I like the other kid? Because I feel you have that like sense of, I'm got to finish this job. And I feel like he was content. And hey, I got them to the finals. We're an 8 seed. No worries. Nothing happens.
What more do you want?
Obviously, if we win, great. If not. But then you come back this year, and I just feel like this team, I'm so annoyed. Like I already talked about. I'm just annoyed that you just take you're not the Lakers of old with Shaq that could take the year off and then restart things in the playoffs. You're not the Bulls like that.
And you're not the really, really old Lakers with Magic, Kareem,
exactly.
and that brand, all those guys that played there.
Yeah, this Eastern Conference, if you play 5 games better, you're a 2 seed or you're
top
there.
4. You're top 4.
You're
top 4, just 5 games.
Yeah, 5 games.
Top
No,
4.
you're a 2 seed
Right.
with 5 games.
Incredible.
That you couldn't muster out some of these losses you had, losing at home. And like I said, we touched on it. They've had so many different lineups. But then Hero always just knickknacks.
He's fragile.
Yeah, you can't. I didn't want to trade him last year for
wonderful
Lillard.
word. He's just so fragile.
Yeah.
He's fragile.
That's why Coach knows. And you know what I'm saying? Looking at a beautiful picture of the man with the ring, the guy knows what he's talking about.
He's been to and again,
I mean,
he's not your regular president. He's been to the mountaintop as a player, as a coach.
Everything.
He's done so much.
We like to shoo that away and be like, oh, the old guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's grumpy.
Well, I mean, that's part of why he's able to say those things, because he's got.
But he was saying those things like 30 years ago when he wasn't that grumpy, because he knows, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, but at this point, he's got the
titles.
He's got the old man.
Guy's a silver fox now. It's fine.
Yeah. So,
but he's earned it.
It's hard to argue with him. It really is hard to argue with him because he's done so much.
He knows what he's talking about.
Right.
And the fact is that, I've never been a fan of hypothetical wins. If I was on the court for this and that, well, guess what? I can say that too. The Grizzlies undefeated against everybody he's played in his mind. I am the master. Come on. It's hypothetical though. Get out of here, bro. Stop talking that, man. I only talk when I win because it's deserved. It's earned.
100%. I mean, no, I get it. So it is going to be interesting what this is foreshadowing, right? Like this leaves the door open to everything, right? Obviously, it's it gives some encouragement, some optimism for the Heat going into next season, but this can also be on the opposite side of things where it might be a blow it up and restructure year as well.
It depends how he takes it. I'm gonna be honest with you. It all depends on how Jimmy takes it.
If anyone can take it, it's Jimmy.
So if Jimmy is able,
I think he could come around because we've seen it, and that's what we loved about him coming here. We said he's definitely Miami Heat culture. He's Miami Heat. This, I just said, I think he just veered away a little bit. Too much coffee sales, maybe. He loves trolling them with the picture every year. I just think he became a little too Miami, which is fine. We embrace that. We got a little crazy.
Right.
It happens here. But we need you to refocus. First of all, this is probably your last year of getting whatever
maximum value,
Jimmy and all that value. So it's either time to step it up right now or you're going to be left behind. And unfortunately, Pat has let go of greater players than you.
Right.
So it's not like he's going to be like, sorry, I gotta.
Yeah, I mean,
he's moved on.
He's moved on,
and he will move on again.
He
will move on again.
I think it was definitely calculated risks, at some point, and who knows what the hell was said or discussed behind closed doors, right? Like he could have probably seen this coming already, and it's water under the bridge in the long term. But like, I will say, right, like just from outsiders' perspective, like they need to get him some, wingmen to help him out to kind of take a little bit of the load off.
He has to be the second best player on the team, though. He has to be the second best player. He can't be the one.
No, he can't.
There needs more help for sure.
No, but he can't.
Be the one.
It doesn't matter. He needs.
We already seen what
a leader.
The one
right.
gets us where we can go here.
Right. I think you guys
if
have
he's a two.
I think the Heat have overachieved over the past 4 or 5 seasons.
At being
with
the
him.
one, we have maxed out.
Right.
We squeezed everything out of that bottle. That's it. That's as much as you're gonna get as it being the one. We get a 1, and then him as a 2. Bam, the 3. I mean, now we're talking.
You got a basketball team.
Yeah.
Then you have a basketball team,
and people just stay healthy on the court.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's close up. This segment with kind of like the outlook for the rest of this round of the playoffs. Right, where do we think we're going? What do you like? What do you see right now as we're taping? Cavaliers and the Celtics are tied at halftime, 54-54. And then
we really didn't talk about that because that's going to be quick, done, fast, in a hurry. I don't care if it looks tied now. The Celtics will. Well, they could lose. They could. It could happen that he beat them 1, but the Celtics will win this in 4 or 5. They'll await the Knicks if that's the case. That's what I see there. Obviously, I think what we touched on is Minnesota right now finishing off the Nuggets.
Yeah, the Nuggets have a huge mountain to climb.
Yeah.
Not that they don't have the players to do so, but they do have a very big mountain to climb. And if they're down 3, if they're down 3-0, 3-1, it gets even tougher. So honestly,
we're gonna see
I'm a little surprised. I thought they would have been 1-1.
The MVP's made of, the defending champs are made of. Put up or shut up. And real quick, they got lucky that Murray didn't get suspended.
Yeah,
because we've had some antics from our some players.
Our producer AC over here brought up today in our chat. Right, we're prepping for the show. Like David Stern's turning in his grave right now because they suspend Pat Beverly for how many games?
4 games.
4 games, and then they just give this guy a fine. Right. Like there's a clear, we don't
suspend our stars anymore.
Right, like, and that's
they
ridiculous.
learned their lessons from Draymond Green.
Like, it's one thing to throw a ball at a fan. You threw a heat pack and a towel directly at an NBA referee.
Right.
Well, I mean, directly. So maybe he was trying to go somewhere else with it. He just got caught up in his hand. I mean, you never know.
I love Gil's the defender.
It's all those technical.
This
things.
isn't a football that has oblong like. There takes some effort to get that heat pack.
He's used to the round ball. The heat pad's a little flatter.
Is Murray used to doing this though?
No, it's
out of character.
Quite honest. Is Pat Beverly the kind of guy that gets a nuisance?
Correct.
Unfortunately, that's the case.
Speaking of Pat Beverly, now he only gives interviews to people that sign up for his podcast.
Right, I heard that.
I mean, what is that? How does that even work? Who is he? Guy's a duck. Yeah. What has Pat Beverly done other than piss off LeBron? Yeah. What else has Pat Beverly done in his career? Are you subscribed to my podcast? Are you subscribed? Oh, you can't. You can't. No, you can't talk to me. What is it? Really?
I think he thinks more of himself than what he really is.
No, obviously,
that's obviously the case.
Obviously,
he knows that his name is only relevant because of the antics.
Right.
He knows that he has to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? This is shades of what was the guy that used to blow in the
Stevenson. Lance Stevenson.
He's a bug, like you said. He's
to have him on your team, but
sometimes you don't.
Yeah, correct.
The Bucks, I'm sure, thought he was going to be fun for him, but no, it didn't work out. Sometimes it's more problematic,
right,
than what you
risk reward. Exactly. It's not. It's not.
You're
there.
not getting a good return for this.
Not everybody's a Dennis Rodman.
Like I said, so that helps Murray's case. Yes, he threw. Hey, he's a little upset. You're getting blown out at home defending champions.
Listen, I get it, right? Jamal Murray's a superstar. Yeah. Pat Bev is a.
Dude, you get rid of him, it's really going to be a sweep.
Pat Bev's a mid-tier player at best.
The script is in, kid. We got to settle this in. Come on.
Now, but I will say that there is, right, in all the sports and at all levels, right, there is that hard line and, red line drawn on contact with the refs.
If he would have hit the ref in a way where, like, makes him fall or something like that, you're gone.
Because if
he throws a ball at the ref,
we've seen
anything like
that in every sport, right? Even an accidental bump into a referee warrants a fine or
If this
suspension
is a regular season
at all
game,
levels.
he's suspended. That's just the bottom.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? If they're up 2-0, maybe he's suspended. You know what I'm saying? They're down 0-2. They're going to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Don't do it again.
100%. Understood. He gets a pass this time, but now he's on. Now there's no leeway here after this.
No. Can't be throwing anything. You can't even throw up a cough. Nothing. Gang signs. Nothing. Just
Gang signs.
nothing.
Well, let's see. Let's see what happens. Right? There's still a series. Right? There's still some. If they
There's,
don't win,
there's at least 2 more games. At least 2 more games to go.
But they better get this.
Be playing in China soon. Man.
They better get this next one, because if they don't get this next one, it's a wrap like a bag lunch.
Leading in the MVP race in China for sure.
If he keeps messing around, if he's playing in the Middle East,
There you go.
then he'll really be in trouble.
On that note, I'm gonna be right back with second segment of Two Coaches, One Grizz. And we are back with the second segment of this week's edition of Two Coaches, One Grizz. Just a quick note, highlight, you're listening to this podcast, go over to social media, to the Instagram right quick. Go check out our first ever live stream of the first segment from this week. Give it a like, comment, right? Let's get some traffic there, right? There's definitely more to come, right? As we start to expand our operation here, and super excited about that. So, the next couple segments are going to be a little bit shorter because the sports world is starting to wind down in other areas, right? But we have to cover the obligatory NFL news, right? Super quick. Grizz, you want to start us off on, pending events that are coming up in the next week or so?
Well, there's not much in the player movement right now, but the NFL schedule is coming out next Wednesday, and we're very excited here, especially at Casa Grizz, because this is where we get to plan our road trips for the games this year.
Hey, baby.
We get to see what the awesome matchups are, and I think more than ever, the NFL knows now, how to market their games, and we have a lot of. I think this year we're going to have Eagles Packers are going to start out in Brazil. We know that first week. And the movement of playing games overseas, you're going to have a couple games in Germany again, a couple in England. We're going to have rematches. I think we're going to have a rematch of the Super Bowl.
They're going worldwide.
Yeah, we're going to have, there's so many cool, and you know what's good now? They used to do the schedule, I think, years ago before the draft. It's good that you do it after the draft so you know where your star talent is getting picked up, because maybe you didn't want to see the Bears last year, but maybe you want to see the Bears now with who they got picked up. So I like that, and yeah, pretty much that's what I'm psyched about. See what's coming out, when they're playing. We'll see.
There is a lot of off the field news and stuff going on, because the NFL never sleeps, obviously.
Never.
And now it's become a year round situation where things happen. There's signings, extensions, and we're listening to a lot of big money being thrown out. But you need to take a look at these extensions, where they started from, and how much money it's really equating to. Like the Kelsey extension, it's only like $1.5 million more each year. It's not that big of a deal. When you take a look at Brown, the Philadelphia Eagles receiver, it only breaks down to like $6 million more. He had a $68 million contract, and now it went to 90. So again, it's a $12 million, or $22 million situation, but only 12 of those million are guaranteed. So the guaranteed money is what you got to look at, and you got to take a look at how much of a bigger difference it is than what they're already getting. It's a big splash news deal, but in reality, it really isn't that big of a difference to what they were making. So again, the reason I mention it becomes really important in how your other pieces now are able to fit together, and how you're able to keep star talent, how you're able to work within the cap and make sure that you can keep your guys, sign your guys, which again, the Dolphins have struggled with that. I think that's something that we really need to work on as far as the Dolphins are concerned. And we'll see. I mean, I think KC's doing a great job. They have their new receiver to be able to take over for Rashid, because right now Rice looks like he's done. He's got the new assault allegations in Dallas. He had the accident. I mean, it's incredible that these guys are getting this amount of money. They get these classes. They go through these different professional development courses, I guess you can call them, and nothing sticks. Nothing sticks with them. It's crazy.
I mean, Coach, it's just like anything else at any level or any, profession, any walk of life. Like, you got to want to change as well. Like, you can get all the help that you want, but it ain't going to make a difference until you're ready to accept it and make the change in a conscious way. You know what I'm saying? I think the NFL does a good job of offering those resources, but at the end of the day, man, like, some of it is just impulse and
remember we could show anybody
ingrained.
the door, so they got to open it. And the fact is, it's all these young kids. It doesn't matter how much you teach them. Young people, money, problem. Always going to be a problem. When you got that kind of money, you probably never been, even close to any of that kind of money. You never, doesn't matter what they try to show you, what you do at night, the untold stories of who you hang out with, what you're looking for. I mean, it's just.
But now in the age of the mill, a lot of those guys are getting money in their pockets earlier. So you would figure that perhaps.
You would hope.
There's a clue there.
But the superstars
and there's so
getting the money.
Well, but
maybe the Ray Rices weren't getting that kind of money.
But they're still getting something.
Right.
And again, there's so many examples out there of guys that are throwing away careers that you would figure someone would say, "Oh, wait a minute, let me not do this. This might not be in my best interest at the moment."
But once again, I think this was happening forever. That people throw away their careers all the time. We just get exposed to it so much more because there's so much exposure. But you're right. I mean, I don't understand it either. I understand enjoying your life, partying and all that stuff, but there's limits to this. Anytime you have an assault, how do you fathom that? Just people are just going to do dumb stuff. And when they keep doing dumb stuff, get rid of them. And that's why the Chiefs are a good organization, because they drafted knowing they had to get rid of some people.
And it's a shame because you're looking at really good young talent.
Oh my God, yeah.
And they again,
he's going to be my keeper.
I'm just saying, like it's incredible that you're looking at him. You're looking at a guy like Ruggs that pissed it all away on that accident, killed somebody. He's got to carry that for the rest of his life. Again, I think that there has to be. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I wish I had the answer. I really do, because it's frustrating because you see these guys that have so much potential. You want to watch them,
correct?
Right? Because apart from everything else, we are fans of the sport.
And usually they're young and dumb. That's the unfortunate part about it.
Unfortunately, it's one of those things where the answer lies in, the reaction, right? The consequences need to be swift and heavy to make them so severe that it creates an active deterrent. But as long as there's, people slipping through the cracks and allowed to play again and avenues to get back in a relatively, easy, quick manner, it's going to continue happening, right? Take race out of it, take politics out of it, take all of that stuff out of it. In a vacuum, right? Unfortunately, we live in a world where consequences and it's not equal reaction, right? Because a superstar is definitely going to get a second chance because they provide too much value versus somebody who's on the bubble.
We also live in a world where everybody feels entitled and I'm special and this is not going to happen to me. And once again, they have the money, so they think they can get out of things because they got the money.
Correct.
Or they know things, or everybody around them's telling them that they're the man. And all this, it's just like I said, I think it's happened throughout life.
I'm invincible.
Yeah,
I'm invincible.
Exactly. It's just like I said, now we have more, now you're getting more money. Now you have more people watching you. It's just, it sucks. It's just, unfortunately, it's going to keep happening. Don't be that guy. That's just the thing. Don't be that guy. Like, you try to learn, and hopefully you're not that guy. Stay on your course. But every year you're going to see this. You're going to see the stupid kid that makes the dumb move. And these are just more examples. It sucks, man, because like I said, you got so much talent, so much in front of you.
And on the team that you're on, you just won the Super Bowl. You were the main cog of those that receiving core. Yeah. It was you and Kelsey. It was you and Kelsey.
You were literally taking the next step.
You've become
to get to that next level.
You've become the man's best friend.
And now you're
because
done.
Patrick Mahomes is you
gonna-
become his best friend. Now you're
gonna be done if you have these two incidents happen, and like the crash incident was extremely strange. So right there, I was already
right.
I was already ready to sell that stock right there.
Right.
Now, come on,
Right.
it's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously outsider's perspective, right? What we would do, right? Because we have, we're watching it happen. Like, me again. None of us played sports, right? Our experience is high school and some of us college, right? If I'm making that much money, I have the resources to invest in a spotter.
Yep.
And what I mean by a spotter is somebody that's going to make sure that I'm not doing some stupid shit,
Right.
for lack of a better term, right? Because that's why you make the money.
But we all say the common sense. Remember, I would hire, we would hire everybody that LeBron's ever hired to keep healthy.
Right.
Like all these things that could only
Perfect
make you
example.
better.
Right.
I would invest everything into make me better because I'm going to get so much back from this investment that it's just people don't have that
Correct.
foresight, man. We all are talking about this because we've been through it. It's called experience.
Right.
It's what we do. It'd be a beautiful thing to see a 20-year-old with that kind of like maturity speak like us or speak like other people and do.
And to be
what
quite
they
honest, these guys are in the grand scheme of things, they're kind of the exception to the rule. Because the majority of the guys
Correct.
are doing the right things.
Exactly.
They're not getting into accidents. They're not doing
That's
all
what I'm
these
saying
stupid
also,
things.
that we
So
highlight.
the majority of it is
Yeah.
correct. You're right. The problem is
We
that
need these guys to talk about this.
the problem is that these
We gotta
guys
highlight them.
these guys are prominent players, right? Because Ruggs was a prominent guy.
Correct.
Was to be the next guy in Oakland in Las Vegas with the Raiders. This guy was now the next guy for
the Chiefs,
KC and Mahomes. So again, that's why it comes to the forefront, because they are such prominent guys, and sadly they don't have the maturity to
practice guy from like a 4-13 team. It gets in trouble. You ain't gonna get this coverage.
No, definitely.
It's immediate.
The receiver for those guys, and from there on, we're gonna go ahead and move forward now to the GOAT that. Obviously, it seems like he did everything right, even a roast. Even with a roast, he did everything right because that was unbelievable. Great TV, great. I don't know what you want to call it. It was
a masterpiece.
It was hilarious.
I love roasts. I've always been a fan of comedy roasts, and you had the first time ever a live roast on Netflix, and you couldn't do it with a better guy.
No.
You roast the GOAT. It was spectacular. And some of the like surprise cameos that came and shown.
And then you even get some
chef's kiss to everybody that
you
put
even
this
get a
on.
little sprinkle of a Belichick roast in there too, which is again was hilarious.
You had a roast within a roast within a roast.
It was amazing. Amazing. The jokes and everything that was said there is
Gronk was a special kind of guy.
Oh,
And listen, kudos. I grew up being a Tom Brady hater, like that. But kudos to him
Yes.
for putting himself in the line of fire, especially with the ammunition that he's bringing.
that all those guys are bringing to the table.
Well, but specifically him and what's gone on in his personal life
Right.
over the past few years.
Right, which is the ammunition those guys had, right.
I'm a firm believer the roaster, like, even if you don't like the person before now, you got to come out of a roast and be like, amazing job. The fact that you let people destroy you in
Yes.
front of other people like that.
And like that.
It takes a certain amount of, as they say,
Globally.
it takes a certain amount of
Gumption,
gumption,
intestinal fortitude.
intestinal
Tough
fortitude.
to be able
A lot of words that we hear and Two Coaches, One Girls try to stray away from because a lot of language on that show that we don't like to approach and hear. But it was phenomenal.
It was.
I got a shout out for me. Nikki Glazer was top notch, the best.
That was the best one of the night.
Tony, I forgot Hitchlinger. I don't know, but he does a show called
Kill Tony.
Amazing. And to me, Andrew Schultz, I've been a big fan of him over the last couple of years. One of the best jokes was on Dana White. That was phenomenal.
Dana also, I thought
Everything was great. It was 3
Yes.
hours, and I honestly was not bored at any point.
At all. It was definitely something. It was amazing.
Yeah, Edelman. I mean, we took shots of people that aren't here anymore.
Yes.
We took shots
Amazing.
at certain events that have happened that this is why if you can't come to the roast, you just no, you're gonna cringe for some things, and you just got to take it for what it is.
And if you don't like it, don't watch it.
Exactly.
If you don't like it, don't watch it.
And
that's simple.
I also, shout out to Drew Bledsoe, right, for being.
He was the best of the athletes.
And
I think he was the best of the athletes.
Just a side note, right? Fellow outlaw, trip member, right? Those of you that listen, right, from college and that side of the country, Drew Bledsoe's awesome, and it was dope to see him in that light.
Wazoo.
So, yeah, it was all around.
The highs and the lows of the NFL.
And here's the thing, and here's what sucks, right? They're gonna try to replicate this, and I don't think it'll ever.
Well, I think it'll be done fine because this is the thing. Like I said, they've been doing these for years.
Right.
These started off back in the day.
They got.
With Dean Martin, the Dean Martin roast back in the day were amazing.
I'm talking about I've seen with Jeff Ross. He leads all these.
Right.
Like at least 30 of them. I mean, Trump has had one. Charlie Sheen's had one. Saget's. They're good. They're gonna do this with other athletes. I guarantee you. But the problem is
it going to reach the magnitude of what, like...
No, of course not, because of the player.
GOAT
Who knows?
Material, like, it's going to be hard to match that.
Yeah, but they're going to do it because like anything else, anything that's hot gets something, it'll be overplayed until it's not. But you're going to, who wants to get roasted, though? That's the question. Like, you got to have a certain type of thing inside you to allow this.
Right.
Just the worst of the worst.
But you know what? That dude's Teflon Don, bro. Like, and it's just it's a unique circumstance of who, like, it's going to roll off of him, right? With
you know what's beautiful about this? How everybody hates Tom Brady. I believe he comes off way more likable after this.
Right.
He gains a lot of fans because of being able to let.
So will Belichick. So's Belichick.
Oh, Belichick came out of his flying.
Belichick came out
amazing.
Yes.
I think he came out amazing. And the thing is, if you truly know the guy, not that I know him, but I've truly known for years that has that like sense of humor that's under the ropes, like people that don't notice that dark humor that he has.
Right.
But he's always, the whole thing at the press conferences has always been a shtick. He just doesn't answer because
he's Bill Belichick.
It's Bill Belichick. He doesn't need to answer. And
fun for him.
Yeah, exactly. It's his way to troll.
Right.
So like I've always known that he had that kind of like little quiet little humor. So it's fine, bro. I thought personally Tom Brady's jab at his most favorite ring was the Ring doorbell that had Coach walking out from the new girl. I thought that was fantastic.
I do want to run this by you guys because I wasn't sure if it was part of like the whole like shtick of the situation or it was like serious. Jeff Ross is going off on
yes, that was serious.
That was serious.
That
right?
was 100% serious because they had Drew Bledsoe on Le Batard the next day and they asked him and he goes, yeah, we know it's joking around, but Drew said himself that Tom, they look at Robert Kraft as like untouchable. Like that's the one guy you can't hold it with. And that joke was super PG compared to everything else.
100%.
Super PG.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And like that's why Jeff Ross was probably like, what are you talking about, bro? I got better stuff to do,
Yeah, like I can go ham on this.
Yeah, so like it is what it is. And whether it's fake or not, like it makes for a good scene. Like you can't really tell if it's staged or not. So I didn't think it was anything crazy. It's not like they're gonna stop the show if they keep doing it.
No. Right. I just thought it was like, hold on,
because they went after things that you're like, whoa,
yeah.
And I'm like hearing the
but
massage.
I think that was like a throwback to the whole Oscar situation,
right?
And the slap.
Correct.
That
could also be something.
That was the stick.
Once again, maybe he was bothered, but it could have been a stick. Regardless,
yeah.
It's just
that was my take on it.
Another couple little, that was something to take away from it. But like I said, overall, Kevin Hart hosting it was fantastic. I love how after every time he was done and about to introduce someone, he'd go F you Tom Brady. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love Kevin Hart for that type of stuff. Like I said, man, roast, if you just can't have fun and turn off your brain for a few hours and just be like, just laugh. I was laughing and crying for a couple hours. It's what you need.
100%. I definitely agree. It was a treat for sure. We're hard segue here, but all good, right? Jump into some Florida Panthers action with the NHL, right? We come back to home right after we talked about the nemesis for Miami for 20 years. But let's come back home to some positive action.
Talk with the new rival, man. I mean, last night they came back after being blown out from the first game 5-1. We came back and we beat them 6-1, but we beat them physically. It was a slobber knocker at the end.
It's a natural rivalry, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Because New England, Boston, Miami, it fits right in.
First of all,
fits right in.
Like I said, the Panthers have only been in the playoffs like 6 or 7 times.
Correct.
They really haven't played too many teams in the playoffs that are like a rival. Maybe Tampa Bay a couple times because it's. But Boston has been the one they've played the most, I believe, out of all the teams. Like they were the first team we beat for our run in the Stanley Cups, and like you said, natural New England, Miami, that South Florida rivalry. I think obviously when you upset the greatest hockey record of all time,
right, that
gives you that little I want revenge. And I'm telling you, man, if you saw the last period, they were just every 2 minutes fighting. It was fantastic.
It's amazing.
I love it.
No, it's great. Like I said, I've really started.
This is going to be a 7-game series.
I've started watching more hockey and more hockey just because I like the sport. It's very fast. Again, the guys are only on the ice for 2.5 minutes at most, and then the line changes. It's like I said, it's a very, very and the way the Panthers have been playing the last few years.
We were talking off air. I feel like hockey in the last few years has grown to a different level. Getting a person like you said, Gil here's watching it for the. I'm sure you've been watching hockey forever.
For years.
But for some reason, over the last few years, it's popping now. It's popping off your screen. It's something that we talk about. It's, you didn't see too many highlights over the last few years in the ESPN worlds and the main news. Like I was saying, it's all about visual. You wouldn't see them. They were on Versus Network for a while, remember? So
USA.
Now, USA, so you're like obscure. Like, I always thought, you're part of the top 4 of if you have a hockey team in your city, you have 4 major and now the last few years you're everywhere. Hockey's fun.
Even though we do have a local team, right? It is an extremely regional sport, right?
I think it's about to pass baseball. My personal opinion.
Now, agreed.
Because baseball has reverted itself, I think, into a regional sport.
Right. I was going there, and I didn't gain an appreciation for the sport until I got to college, right? New England, upper Midwest, right? Very regional sport. But when you actually sit down and watch a game with someone who grew up playing the sport, right? Like we did with football, and you actually see, right? Because if you're a sports person, you understand concepts and strategy. You're like, oh shit, that makes sense, right? Like that is actually really interesting in how each person, they do have their jobs, right? They do have their sets that they run.
Let me tell you, the way Boston beat Toronto, I don't know if you saw that play from last week. Boston made the pass off of the back wall.
Correct.
That came across and Pasternak. I mean, that was beautiful.
That's how they do it.
That's beautiful.
I literally had an argument with a friend of mine.
They're using the walls now. I mean,
where he hates it when they throw it back. Why do they throw the puck back there? Because that's the strategy,
it's part of
bro.
a strategy.
You throw it back there, it bounces off, and you're going to get the wrong kind of hit. You get back there, you break this. I don't care. I don't even understand the sport. You see, I don't even know what I'm saying. The point is, it's such a fun.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb. It's a dumb. It's a dumb
they
strategy. Dump it in there. And
I just know. Give them a one-timer. Send it in.
So to bring some context to that, right? The popularity increase has a lot to do with the rules changes that they've done, right, within the last decade. Because there's
been more scoring in hockey.
A lot of things that they're doing now and that are allowed were traditionally not allowed in the game, which made the game boring for people who didn't know the game. Now
I just thought it was a thuggery sport. You fought and that was it.
It still is.
Compared to what
that's the beauty of it.
It still is.
Right. Compared to what it used to be.
But it does have a lot of
correct. Compared to what it used to be, it's a free for all.
The speed, exactly.
Correct. Because there's no more offsides.
You have the best.
There is offsides.
But it's a lot more lax of a
rule. But now the icing.
You have the best young talent this league's had in a long time.
Before on icing, but on icing before you had to wait till the player touched it for it to be considered icing. Now it's not. Now once it passes the 2 lines, the refs automatically call icing on it.
Right.
But this is how it was back in the 80s.
Think of it in context of soccer, right? Like that. If it's anywhere close to, they're trying to pass it when it's automatic offsides. it's a lot more lax.
But
now.
I'm saying now that we have, like I said,
I disagree
the
with
young
that.
talent that's coming in, the guy from Edmonton, the kid that I think was drafted,
could chuck around and find out.
Kachuk
Yeah.
first.
No, but that kid,
But
the
I'm
kid from
saying, like,
Edmonton is a well,
What happened in the 80s and the 90s, you had players, the Gretzky's, the Yarmir Yagers, Murray Lemieux. You had really, like, these names that, like, were national. I didn't, over the last 20 years, it's Crosby and Ovechkin.
Right.
Great players. But I'm saying that was it. I don't really,
And
there's not a lot. And now we're having, like, it feels like almost every team in the playoffs has a name that you can follow.
Right.
People are behind, and it's exciting. I'm saying I can't wait to go to hockey games next year.
and again, some of it is all, like in the 80s, like you're saying, with Gretzky.
It was a more open game.
The open game, and they also had dudes, enforcers,
Correct.
right, that allowed those guys to do what they did.
You had it exactly. You had the glamour guys, and you had the guys that
the
lunch
thing is
pail,
that
and they're gonna kick your ass.
what's happened now is that the speed is now more evenly across the teams. Back then, you only had 4 or 5 guys that were fast guys.
Back then, you only had 12 teams.
So, I guess,
mean,
but I'm saying, that's why now, if you notice, the first 2 lines usually have fast
now that I'm
guys.
even thinking about it, the fact that they expanded so, from 12 teams like in the 80s, 14 to like we got 32 now. I think what happened also watered down the sport a little bit because now you have an influx of all these players that we didn't have that much talent anyway.
Right.
So now that it's been now consistent for the last 10 years, this amount of teams, now the players, that also helps out. I just think once again, we're at a great time in hockey, especially for us having to see it up close.
Correct.
It's good to have our team doing good, so it motivates us to be hockey fans.
The last time there was any sort of relevance, in pop culture down here, it was like 1997 or something like that, right?
The only year. That's it.
Yeah.
The year the Rat. Van Beesbrook and
Rat.
Company. That was it.
Right.
Ever since then, until 2 years ago that we won the President's Trophy, we have been an irrelevant
It
franchise.
also doesn't help that you play in, Sunrise or wherever they play in like a relative obscurity. But
And you know what? Not for nothing, they're a passionate fan base, man. If you've ever been to the games, they.
oh no, live is amazing.
So what I'm saying is, like, I don't think it's ever been.
They love their hockey. They love their hockey.
Their fan base has been fine. Like I said, it's just they didn't have a well-run organization.
No.
You just didn't have the people up top that cared.
Overall,
That's the way I saw it.
yeah, and grand scheme, like full picture, right? The whole lockout and them not playing for like almost 2 years or whatever was the best thing that could have happened to the sport. The complete restructure and allowed them to.
They had a lockout. Things changed. I just think, now, like I said, they're on ESPN, TNT. They're visible. People want to watch this now.
Yep.
They're like,
And again, and that they are, whatever. I do firmly believe that they've garnered a lot of new fans from what's happened in the other sports and stuff like that, and hockey has maintained itself focused on playing the game.
There it is. On
There
that
it
note,
is.
we'll be back in a second to close out the show with I know you got some
A little MMA, just a little
MMA and some baseball. We got to cover baseball.
A little college football.
you guys
as
can
well.
handle this.
And we are back to close out the show for this week. We're going to jump right in. MLB coach has got some strong words of excitement and awe for a young phenom, that's kind of busted onto the scene here.
I guess we'll go with the good news first. For those of you that watched college baseball last year and watched Paul Skeens pitch for LSU, he is going to make his major league debut on Saturday. If you get a chance, you need to watch the kid pitch and play. He's a monster. He's a monster. He's dominated the minor leagues for the last 6 weeks, and Pittsburgh's bringing him up so he can start on Saturday versus the Cubs. I'm gonna be a homer. I'm gonna be a Joe, and I'm gonna take the Pirates for first 5 because I really think the kid is out of this world. He's 6'6", 235. The guy's a real deal. The guy could start at tight end for a couple of teams, defensive end. He's a stud all the way around. And he's got like 4 or 5 pitches. He throws his 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got a slider. And he's got a changeup at 88. So go figure.
But you did mention, though, the one downside is that they have him on a 75-pitch count.
That's what they did during his time in the minors.
Got it.
They didn't want to overuse him, so they put him on a 75-pitch count. But he's allowed 3 earned runs in 27 1/3 innings. He struck out 45 batters.
Wow.
So there
Holy
you go.
crap.
About two batters. Two.
Of efficiency.
I mean, almost 2 batters an inning.
So let me ask you this: are the training wheels off? You think they're gonna let him rip?
Well, again, it's going to be his first start. Again, I figured no more than 80. And then they'll continue pacing him. He's only 21. He's only 21 years old.
I mean,
So, again, I think...
it's
I think that
you know
he'll-
it's inevitable, right?
Right, I
The
mean-
Tommy John's coming.
I don't... Again,
Especially with a flamethrower like
but
that.
you know what? I don't know, man. Like, he's a big, strong guy. So, by him being... Usually, you see the thinner guys get the Tommy John because they put a lot of stress on their body. And they're not hefty enough.
Yeah, it's
This
a lot
guy's
more
sick.
torque.
This guy's 6'6", 235. Like, he is a horse. He's not, he doesn't have a small arms. He's a big guy. He's a big dude.
Right. Which,
So-
helps the velocity, or he's got more mass
I
behind
think it helps everything.
Right.
So, like I said, I just feel like there's going to be a pitcher there for quite some time. So, after that news, we'll go ahead and go into our lowly home team, the Miami Marlins, who just continue to find different ways of sucking. Honestly, it's been horrible. They just started their fire sale. They got rid of the batting champ. They sent him to San Diego for more prospects. We are the city of prospects. I mean, even though really that's kind of like sounds like Hialeah, but it's not. It's Miami, the city. We're 10-29. It's horrible. I mean, we don't have any pitching arms. We've got no hitting. I don't know. I have no idea how far we're gonna go. I think we got a good manager. I think the guy did a great job last year with the team.
Shout out to another outlaw trip member.
And now, because of this season, I don't know what his standing is. Because remember, this is a new management. This is a new owner. The whole, everybody's new.
If they give, if they're logical about this, right, and understand that this
Logical. You're a funny guy.
again, that's why I said it, right, and they allow him to, grow and build with the organization, then I think it's going to work out. But past history has proven that the Marlins organization, whoever runs it, has not had the proclivity to have patience with building an organization and a team, and the effort and patience that takes.
Well, again, I mean, and this ownership team has only the team for 3 years now. I think 4 at most. We had Jeter as a GM. Jeter lasted 2 years. Then last year we had the lady who I thought did a nice job. I thought she was pretty capable. I had never heard of her before. I was like, oh, who is this? But again, I thought she put together a decent roster. And they showed her the door and brought in the guy from Tampa Bay. So again, we'll see what happens. I don't know how long they will keep the manager or how long the team will stay where it's at. And then we'll see from that where we go.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. We've won a couple of World Series. It's just shocking.
And what happened after both World Series?
Right. It's a dismantling of the team.
Fire sale.
Right.
But that's what you get when you build a stadium on hollow ground and coerced tax dollars from the county to make it happen.
That's the only way you can build a stadium. Coerced money.
Again, you tear down a sacred monument for whatever that is. Anyways, moving along to bigger and better things. Let's go through our weekly UFC recap. Again, it's been compared to UFC 300, UFC 301 was definitely a dip in the action, but overall, I think it was they kind of had no choice, right? It's kind of a necessary situation. Those guys, it was a title fight, whatever the case may be, but the bangers, the absolute showtime, prime time, UFC events are coming up this summer that we should be really excited about, and I think this is a build-up.
I mean, again, the main event was a good main event.
It was.
Pantoja beat Usyk in a decision. I thought it was a good fight, entertaining. Jose Aldo came back out of retirement and beat Jonathan Martinez, which again I think was a handpicked opponent. I don't know how good he is. Anthony Smith just won't go away. I can't stand that guy. I'm serious. When you think he's gonna win, he lets you down. When you think he's gonna lose, he wins. Like I don't even know where that guy's at. Michael Pereira, as they like to call it, as I like to say it, I mentioned him before as one of the guys I wanted to take, but he was just too expensive. He dominated his fight, just like Ismael Bofim. He dominated his fight. Again, great job by both of them. The card was good. It was a good card. Again, you're missing the big names, but as we get ready for UFC Fight Night this week, there's a couple of good fights this week to keep an eye on. The main event, Derek Lewis, we'll see what he can do. A couple of fat guys fighting. We've got Joaquin Buckley, who is an up-and-comer. You got Carlos Ulberg is fighting Alonzo Menefield. Menefield has had a few good fights lately. This one could have some surprises. We'll see how it works out. Towards the undercard, you've got Charles Johnson against Jake Hadley. Hadley's the Englishman. He's not bad either. It's pretty good. So again, it should be an entertaining card. And there's about 3 or 4 good fights there. So we'll see what happens.
No, it should be fun. Again, and I look at it as the build-up, right?
Right. I'm going to mention one more. And I took him early in the week at -190. He's now -250. The gentleman by the name is Robelis Despagne. He is Cuban. He is 6'7", 261 pounds. The only issue is he's 35 years old already.
Ooh, a little long in the tooth, eh?
He has a short window. Guy, if I'm not mistaken, is a bronze medal winner for Cuba in the Olympics. He is an absolute animal. He won at UFC 300 within 18 seconds. I don't think Waldo Cortez Acosta is going to last too long either in this one. The price is a little high. It's at $250. I was able to get in right when it came out about $195. But that one should be quick and exciting, and we'll see what happens next for him on the horizon. He's only going to be he should be 6-0, so we'll see where he goes from here.
Interesting, very very interesting. It's going to be fun. I'm definitely looking forward to what UFC has in store for us over the summer here. I think that does it for us, right, guys?
Yeah, I think so. I
think that's a wrap on the.
Other than Deion Sanders burning the program in Colorado to the ground, I think we've covered it all.
Yeah, there we go. And we'll leave that one on the back burner for next week. Before we log off here, let's make sure, right? I'm going to mention it again, right? Go to our Instagram, follow, like, comment on our first little live stream action there. Definitely more to come on that end. And as we kind of refine the process, we're super excited about that. Give us your thoughts, right? Feedback. Your feedback is going to help us, produce and provide the product that you guys want and what you want to listen to.
Like and subscribe to our podcast on our different media platforms. That's also important.
Yeah, 100%. And YouTube platform coming soon here too. Super excited about that. So got a lot going on and it's going to be a fun summer. Grizz?
You've said everything I think the people need to hear. I'm just going to extend again. Thank you guys for, I've heard few people say thank you for coming back. They missed us. You know who you are. Appreciate you guys. And like Frankie and Gil said, we're coming bigger and badder. And who knows? You guys are the ones that will lead the way. So you guys, it's important that you let us know what's up.
You're going to dictate what we do and where we go. So looking forward to that and increased, interactions, right? Give us what you want to hear. 2 coaches, 1 Grizz. Out.